taught me to always remember where you came from, always remember the people who helped you along the way, and always have an attitude of gratitude. I can stand before you today with that attitude because Paul Harris sat on February 23rd, 1907, with 3 of his friends, and he revealed a vision. He revealed a vision of an organization that was dedicated to service, to diversity, to birthing new ideas and exchanging them, to making new linkages, connections, and friendships that would last forever. But what got me was a speech that I listened to where he said, "The world is a changing place. Rotary must be prepared to change with it." The Rotary story will be written again and again. Women in Rotary and women who look like me are beneficiaries of that vision. We are helping now to write the Rotary story of the future. I joined Rotary in 2012 in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. I was invited to speak there, and I've been invited to speak at Rotaries many times, but on this occasion, the room looked very much like this one. The spirit was very welcoming, and I just felt like, this feels really good. So I went back the next week as a guest, and the speaker was the White House Director of Social Media, and he spoke about security versus social media, and I went, whoa, I'm going back again. I did that, and I went to a happy hour, and they said, Tyra, you can't keep doing this. And I was like, really? They said, no, you have to join. I said, oh, I can join, I can be in Rotary, and I did. And that May, I went to Bangkok for my first Rotary International Convention. And I went there as a member of the Tyson's Corner Rotary. After a week of immersion with over 30,000 Rotarians, walking through the Friendship Village, meeting people as they talked about their projects where they were improving the quality of life of people around the world, I came home a Rotarian. I have in my heart the goals and objectives, and I've been living them all my life. I just didn't know that this space, this family, this community was another outlet for me to live and act and give. If you looked, well, let me tell you this part about Lisbon. I moved here, but I wanted to go to Lisbon with my district in Virginia, so I did. And Ann Matthews hosted our area breakfast, and that's when I knew she was a special lady. Ann Matthews flew pounds and pounds of grits and taught the cooks how to make them so that her area breakfast, people attending would feel like home. And I said, you know what? I like her. Not only that, when she became the first, I went chasing after her. I said, I want her to be a guest on my Women in Rotary podcast. And I'm like a dog with a bone. So finally, Rotary International Public Relations got her to agree. I submitted my questions, they approved my questions, then we only had one problem. I couldn't catch her. I couldn't schedule Ann Matthews, but I promise you, she will be a guest on Real Rotary Radio, Women in Rotary. I have just a couple of things I'd like to share. If you look behind the words on my resume, you'll find that I'm a 4th-generation educator. So I walked right out of Ohio State University into a classroom. The 3rd year, I discovered I couldn't help some of my children. They had invisible disabilities that had to do with behavior and emotion, so I applied for graduate school. I received one of the 30 fellowships offered that year for a 2-year pilot program at San Diego State University, where we would be trained, interning from day 1, as well as taking classes. I want you to picture this. Midwestern me getting on a plane at Cincinnati, Greater Cincinnati Airport, dressed in matching shoes and purse and dress and a ponytail. And then picture me running through the airport at San Diego in December to meet my parents who ran right past me. You can go to California and you can become someone else. I had on hip huggers. I had on a halter. I had been frying in the sun because they told me black was beautiful. I even looked leathery. I had taken that ponytail and I had cut it off trying to get an afro. But instead I looked like I had stuck my finger into an electrical socket. My parents, after 2 weeks, went home and they said, Tyra, we love the people, we love your friends, and we're so proud of you, your grades and your internship with Tyra. We thought you were so pretty just the way you were. You know, there's nothing like parental nuance, all right? But from California, I decided the airfares were going up, my friends were doing things, and I wanted to get closer to my roots. And I wanted to look like they used to know me once again. So I got my first consulting contract, solo, for 1 year with Department of Labor, Women's Center, and I visited 38 state prisons behind the walls, 1 federal prison behind the walls. I had nerve enough and stupidity enough to spend the night on a prison ward so I could get the feel. Okay? The night before the parole board came and I got the feel. But those 2 occasions are symptoms of how Tyra has evolved. It doesn't seem to be a straight path, a customary path. So I went from educator to psychologist to researcher, and I said, well, let me dabble in the corporate world. I wonder if they'll allow me in. I walked into IBM, I was a humanitarian, unconditional, positive regard, and bam, there was a quota board. It showed everyone's performance, or lack thereof. There was no place to hide weakness. As I tried to run for the door, they interviewed me and they hired me. And the first branch manager meeting I was in, I told the boss, this doesn't work. I don't know what you were talking about. I have no idea. He said, give us a month. 22 years later, with a lot of awards and exceeding my own expectations, it was only a brain tumor that separated me from IBM. I keep evolving, and I won't take any more of your time, but I will say this. I'm not who I used to be. I'm not who I'm going to be. But today I stand before you as a proud member, and yes, I'm claiming it, of your Rotary Club, and I will do my very, very best to help you meet your objectives, and I will do my very, very best to help Rotary International meet its goals, and I thank you so much.